everybody there just dropped to their knees and started praying because it just didn't look good. It didn't feel good. And that's what happened. And then they came and told us, that he had passed, and it was just unbelievable.
Sean Combs is not at a party. He is locked inside a grim federal jail in Brooklyn. The man who was once the king of hip-hop, a billionaire who drove baby blue Bentleys, is now a convicted man. For 28 years, the murder of his best friend, Biggie Smalls, has been a dark shadow over his life. Now, Diddy's own downfall and a shocking new confession in another case are changing everything we thought we knew about that night. The end of an empire. It all started like something out of an action movie. Federal agents with Homeland Security swarmed Sean Diddy Combs' giant mansions in Los Angeles and Miami. They came in heavy, with guns drawn. This was not a small case. This was a massive federal investigation coming out of New York. The feds charged Diddy with leading a criminal enterprise. They used a law called RICO. That is a very serious charge. It is the same law they used to take down mafia bosses. A RICO charge means the government believes Diddy was the head of a criminal group and that he used this group to commit crimes for him. The charges were shocking: sex trafficking by force, racketeering, and witness intimidation. The witness intimidation charge was a major problem for Diddy. A judge said he could not be trusted to stay out of jail. The judge rejected a $50 million bail package. So, Diddy had to wait for his trial from a jail cell. His trial began in May 2025. It was a media circus. Reporters were lined up to get inside. The things they heard were stunning. Witnesses, including Diddy's own former personal assistant, took the stand. They told stories of Diddy ordering them to do illegal things. After weeks of testimony, the jury made its decision on July 2nd, 2025. They found Diddy not guilty of the biggest charges, not guilty of racketeering, not guilty of sex trafficking. Diddy looked like he was praying in the courtroom, but he was not a free man. The jury found him guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Then, in October 2025, the judge gave the sentence. Sean Combs was sent to prison for more than 4 years. The king of hip-hop was gone. His power, his money, his fame, none of it could save him. His empire was over. This federal investigation dug into every corner of Diddy's life, but the feds were not the only ones digging. Across the country, another 90s cold case just exploded, and it leads right back to Diddy, the Las Vegas domino. For 27 years, the murder of Tupac Shakur was a mystery, just like Biggie's. Tupac was gunned down in Las Vegas in 1996. It was just 6 months before Biggie was killed. For decades, there were no arrests. The case was cold. Then, on September 29, 2023, everything changed. Police in Las Vegas made an arrest. They arrested this man, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. Keefe D is an ex-gang leader from Compton, California. The police charged him with first-degree murder. They said he was the man who orchestrated Tupac's killing. After almost 30 years. Why now? Why did they arrest him? The answer is simple. Keefe D just could not stop talking. He wrote a tell-all book called Compton Street Legend. He went on interviews. He told his story to anyone who would listen. He thought he was safe. He claimed he had an immunity deal from a long time ago. He was wrong. And what he said in that book and in those interviews changes everything. The $1 million confession. This is the new detail that shakes the foundation of the Biggie case. In his book and in police tapes, Keefe D told the whole story. He claims that Sean Diddy Combs offered him $1 million. What was the job? To kill Tupac Shakur and to kill his boss, the head of Death Row Records, Suge Knight. Keefe D says he was in the car that night. He says his crew was at the MGM casino for a Mike Tyson fight. They saw Tupac in the lobby, and Tupac's crew attacked Keefe D's nephew, a man named Orlando Anderson. Keefe D says after that fight, he got a gun. He got in a white Cadillac with other men. He says he handed the gun to his nephew Orlando, who was in the back seat. Then they went hunting for Tupac's car. They found him. Tupac was riding in a black BMW, driven by Suge Knight. Keefe D says they pulled up next to them at a red light, and his nephew, Orlando Anderson, fired the shots that killed Tupac Shakur. Orlando Anderson was never charged. He was killed 2 years later in an unrelated gang shootout in 1998. Diddy's lawyers have said this whole story is ridiculous. Years ago, they called it pure fiction. But Keefe D is now in a Las Vegas jail, waiting for his murder trial. His trial is set for 2026. This is not just a story anymore. It is evidence in a murder case. This confession changes the whole 90s rap war. It was not just a rap beef. It was a $1 million murder plot, and Tupac's family is listening. A new investigation. Tupac's family heard Keefe D's confession. They are not waiting for the police. They have hired one of the most famous and powerful lawyers in America, Alex Spiro. They are now officially investigating Diddy themselves. They are looking for a possible link between Sean Combs and the 1996 murder. So now, let's look at the situation. Diddy is in jail, a convicted man. He is being named in open court as the man who ordered Tupac's murder, and Tupac's family is coming after him with their own high-powered lawyers. The wall of silence that stood for 28 years is crumbling. With Diddy in jail and Keith D talking, the old excuses are gone. It is time to go back to that night in Los Angeles, just 6 months after Tupac's death. What really happened to Biggie Smalls? The last party. It was March 1997. Biggie was in Los Angeles. He was on top of the world. His new album, Life After Death, was about to drop. It was a huge moment for him, but he was scared. He was in enemy territory. This was Los Angeles. This was Suge Knight City, and it was just 6 months after Tupac was killed. Biggie knew this. In a radio interview just days before, on March 5th, he said he had hired a security detail. He said he feared for his safety. He said it was just because he was a celebrity, but the timing was scary. On March 8th, he went to the 11th Annual Soul Train Music Awards. He went on stage to give an award to Toni Braxton, and people in the audience booed him. The West Coast tension was real. Later that night, he went to a huge after-party. It was hosted by Vibe Magazine and Quest Records at the Peterson Automotive Museum. The party was packed with stars. Then, around 12:30 in the morning, the fire department shut it all down. The party was too crowded. Everyone had to leave. The convoy and the ambush Biggie and Diddy walk out of the museum. They get into 2 different green GMC Suburbans. Diddy is in the first car, up ahead. He has 3 bodyguards with him. Biggie is in the second car. He is in the front passenger seat. His friend, rapper Lil Cease, is in the back seat. His other friends, Damian D. Rock Butler and the driver Gregory G. Money Young, are in the car too. A third car, a Chevrolet Blazer, is behind them. It has Bad Boy's director of security inside. The convoy pulls away from the museum. The streets are crowded with people leaving the party. They only get 50 yards. They stop at a red light, the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and South Fairfax Avenue. They are sitting ducks. And here's a detail most people forget. Years later, Biggie's family filed a $400 million wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. In that lawsuit, they named the target of the shooting. They said the killer was there for the notorious B.I.G. or for Sean Combs. Was the killer there for Biggie or was he there for Puffy? Before they could move, a dark car pulled up, and a new witness says we have the whole story wrong. It was not a drive-by. We have all heard the story that it was a drive-by shooting, but Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, says that is a lie. Gene Deal was there that night. He was part of Diddy's security detail. He has recently spoken out. He says he is frustrated by the lies he sees in movies and documentaries. He says they are listening to people who are not even there. Gene Deal insists it was not a drive-by. He says the killer's car was not moving. It was already at the corner. It was waiting for them. He said the car was, quote, probably there all night. This was not a random shooting. This was an ambush. Gene Deal gets emotional when he talks about that night. He says he was the one who rushed to Biggie's car after the shots. He says he pulled Biggie out of the truck. He says, quote, I saw this kid lose his life. This kid died while I was pulling him out of the car. An ambush, a planned hit. But who was the man in the car? The witnesses all saw him. And the description is the strangest part of all. The man in the bow tie. This dark-colored 1994-1996 Chevrolet Impala SS pulls up next to Biggie's truck. The driver does not look like a typical gang member. Witnesses said he was a black man. He was dressed nicely. He was wearing a light blue suit and a bow tie. He rolls down his window. He raises a 9mm blue steel pistol, and he fires 6 shots into the Suburban. 4 bullets hit Biggie. His friends panic. They speed away from the red light. They race to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, which is close by. Doctors rush him into surgery. They perform an emergency thoracotomy. They try everything, but it is too late. At 1:15 a.m., Christopher Wallace was pronounced dead. He was 24 years old. 15 years later, his autopsy report was made public. It showed there were no drugs or alcohol in his system. It showed that 3 of the bullets were not fatal, but the 4th bullet was. It entered his right hip. It tore through his colon, his liver, his heart, and the upper lobe of his left lung. It was over in seconds. A man in a suit and bow tie, a dark Impala, an ambush. The police had the clues, and one detective followed them. He followed them to a place his bosses told him to never look, inside the LAPD itself. The first detective, Russell Poole. Meet Russell Poole. He was a decorated detective in the LAPD Robbery Homicide Division. He was a star, and he got the Biggie Smalls case. He starts digging, and what he finds is terrifying. He finds a link between the murder and active-duty Los Angeles police officers. Poole came to believe the order to kill Biggie came from Suge Knight. He believed Knight was getting revenge for Tupac's murder. And he believed the murder was carried out by corrupt cops who were secretly working for Suge Knight's death row records. He later said the LAPD, quote, intentionally, willfully, and recklessly delayed and stopped the investigation. They did it as soon as it pointed to their own officers. Poole believed the LAPD was covering it up. Why? Because the trail of clues, the car, the description, led directly to one of their own, the cop, the robber, the Impala. This is LAPD officer David Mack. Detective Poole found that Mack lived a double life. He was a cop, but he was also a friend of Suge Knight. He partied at Death Row Records events. He was described as a gang member cop. He even wore red clothes, the color of Suge's Bloods gang. In November 1997, just 8 months after Biggie's murder, David Mack was arrested. He had robbed a bank of over $700,000. When police searched Mack's house, what did they find? A black Chevy Impala SS, the same make and model as the killer's car. Detective Poole put the pieces together. He built a powerful case. He believed Suge Knight ordered the hit from jail. His dirty cop, David Mack, organized it. But who was the shooter? Who was the man in the bow tie? Poole believed it was this man, Amir Muhammad, also known as Harry Billups. Amir Muhammad was a friend of David Mack's, and he perfectly matched the strange witness description, the man in the suit and bow tie. And here's the final clue. After David Mack was arrested for that bank robbery, police checked the jail visitor logs. The very first person to visit him in jail was Amir Muhammad. Poole had his cop, David Mack. He had his shooter, Amir Muhammad. He had the car. He had the motive. But when he presented it to his bosses, they told him to stop. The case goes cold. Russell Poole presented his explosive case to his superiors. He showed them the links, the car, the dirty cops, the death row connection. His bosses took out their pens, and they crossed everything out. Poole said they redlined his reports. They ordered him to remove David Mack's name. They ordered him to remove the gang connections. They buried the truth. Poole was disgusted. In 1999, he quit the force. He could not be part of the cover-up. But Biggie's mom, Voletta Wallace, knew he was right. She sued the city of Los Angeles for $400 million for the wrongful death of her son. Her case was so strong that in 2005, a federal judge had to stop the trial. Why? Because the city was caught hiding evidence. The LAPD had a whole stash of documents they never turned over. The judge was furious. He ordered the city to pay over $1 million in fines. But in 2010, the lawsuit was dismissed. The case was dead. Why would the LAPD cover it up so hard? It was about money. There were reports that Mack's partner, another dirty cop named Rafael Perez, was on duty the night of the murder. Perez was at the center of the huge LAPD Rampart scandal. If a cop killed Biggie while on the clock, the city of LA would have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars. The case was cold. Poole was gone. But years later, the city was still fighting the lawsuit. They needed a new answer. So, a new detective was assigned, and he came up with a very different story. The second detective, Greg Kading. In 2006, the case was reopened. A new federal task force was formed. This time, it was led by Detective Greg Kading. Kading reviewed all of Russell Poole's evidence, all the work on David Mack and Amir Muhammad. And he said Poole was wrong. Kading was firm. He wrote a book about it called Murder Rap. He said, "I'm absolutely confident that the LAPD had nothing to do with this. But here's a fact many people miss. That 2006 investigation was reopened for a specific reason. It was, quote, to look for new evidence to help the city defend the civil lawsuits brought by the Wallace family. This new task force was not just a cold case unit. It was created to find an answer that did not involve any LAPD officers. Kading had a new theory. It did not involve dirty cops. It involved a different shooter and a much, much smaller price. The $13,000 hit. Kading's key witness was a woman he calls Teresa Swan. She was the mother of one of Suge Knight's children. She confessed to Kading. She told him everything. She said Suge Knight ordered the hit from jail. She even said she helped move the money for the hit. But the shooter was not a mysterious man in a bow tie. Kading said the shooter was this man, Wardell Pookie Fowles. Pookie was a known Mob Peru Bloods gang member. The price? Just $13,000. This theory was much cleaner for the LAPD. It blamed a gang member. It cleared the police completely, but this case also hit a dead end. Kading's task force was shut down, and the new suspect, Pookie Fowles, was already dead. He was murdered in 2003. He was shot 10 times in the back while riding his motorcycle. 2 detectives, 2 theories, 2 shooters, 2 dead ends. For 28 years, that is where the story stopped. Until now, because those new details, the Diddy investigation and the Keith D confession, change everything. the full circle. This is where it all comes together. We had two theories for Biggie's murder. Theory 1, Detective Poole believed a dirty cop, David Mack, hired his friend, Amir Muhammad, to kill Biggie for Suge Knight. Theory 2, Detective Canning believes Suge Knight paid a gang member, Pookie Faust, $13,000 to do it. Both theories had the exact same motive, Suge Knight getting revenge for Tupac. But that motive always seemed weak. Just a rap feud? It felt like something was missing. Now, we have the new detail from Keith D's confession. Diddy allegedly put a $1 million hit on Tupac. This new information does not just solve the case, it makes it darker. It confirms the motive. If Keith D is telling the truth, Suge Knight's revenge was not just about a rap feud. It was direct, eye-for-an-eye retaliation for a $1 million murder plot. This new detail makes Suge Knight's motive clear and powerful. It also opens up that awful question again, the one from the family's lawsuit. Was Biggie the real target? Or was he just in the wrong car at the wrong time? Was the killer looking for Diddy, the man who ordered the hit on Tupac? And the other new detail, Diddy is in jail. His empire is gone. He has no more power. The people who were on his payroll, the people who were afraid of him, they are not afraid anymore. The Diddy RICO investigation has opened a door that can never be closed again. The old cases were missing a motive this big. Now, the new details provided, and the three men who were at the center of it all are all off the board. For the first time in 28 years, all the key players are locked up. Suge Knight is in prison. Keith D. Davis is in a Las Vegas jail, waiting for his 2026 trial. And Sean Diddy Combs is in a Brooklyn federal prison. The men who built the wall of silence are now behind walls of their own. And the truth about who killed Biggie Smalls is finally coming to light.